Aloha people. I just went live in my group, but I figured I would go live on my personal page as well because this is really important for me to talk about, um, as a lot of you are feeling this. Worries of integrity in the coaching industry and marketing pitfalls that prevent you from getting people to reach out to you. So far in the last 2 weeks, every post that I've reached out with the intent of inviting somebody into a program, they have either scheduled or I just randomly got a PM of people interested in my services, right? And so what has shifted from literally the last 2 years, and this is exactly what I've backed into my Coalesce program, is everything that I've learned over the last 2 years, the strategic implementation, all of the legal everything on how to start a coaching business, all of your foundations, your marketing foundations, messaging, things like that, market research, what a lot of people don't want to do and rather go puke in the bushes than do market research, especially if you're a spiritual entrepreneur. And also to stay in integrity energetically and feel like whatever kind of work that you're doing is actually in alignment with your soul, right? Because that's really important to a lot of people right now. So this is a really important topic that I want to address, especially because the word integrity has been coming up so much with those of you who are my spiritual virtual communities, as well as coaches and coach friends. To those of you that do not know me, I'm sure most of you know me if you are on my personal page. I am Marina, and I am a mentor for spiritual entrepreneurs, either at the starting stages of their business, or if they have already done it but are so sick of kind of the spiritual, raw, traditional approaches and have a hard time expressing their magic into words. So this has been a really important topic for me to address and discuss. And how to actually stay in integrity and still get pretty objectionless sales and sales calls, and how to get people still reaching out to you even though it feels like it's so noisy and there's no single marketing approach that's going to work. What has shifted for me, and especially over the last 2 years after discovering both the strategy schools as well as the intuitive and the energetic and the alignment schools of thought. So the number one marketing pitfall is that you're talking to yourself. And there's a lot of coaches that will say that, perhaps your ideal client is a past version of you. And while that is true, the other marketing pitfall is the program that you are selling is also not actually talking to them. That can be felt. The biggest thing that has shifted for me is actually creating a program with that person in mind and constantly refining the process every single day based on the things that I have gone through, based on the things that I know they're going to go through, and talking to them from that space of knowing, hey, I know what you have gone through, and I'm not going to shame you for it, because that's the other marketing technique that does not work. So there's many pitfalls, but the number one is that people are talking to themselves, okay? They're talking to a past version of themselves, or talking to something that you have gone over in your trials and tribulations. And yes, it means everything to have compassion for it, but not commiseration, and there's a difference. So the number one thing that has shifted for me into creating sales and having people reach out for me to me instead of hearing crickets is this whole notion of being client-centered in everything that I do, in the creation of my programs, in doing my market research, whenever I speak to people, whenever I am scrolling social media instead of just pointlessly scrolling, and even looking at people's live streams. I'm like, what is it that they're talking about? Why are they talking about that? And who are they talking to? This has literally shifted a lot of things for me, is becoming really client-centered in the program that I create, in the passion behind my why for it. And also, the marketing pitfall number one is do not talk to yourself. I know you want to talk to the past version of yourself because you want to have compassion for yourself, but don't do that, because your ideal client, yes, while they may be and may have experienced the same pains you have, really dive into what are they thinking about? What are they talking about and why? What is the biggest thing that is just making them want to like cry? Like, and why? Like, really, like, do not stop digging and do not stop refining and asking questions. With every single conversation so far that I've had, I've refined my programs, my 2 programs, by the way. I'll tell you about them in just a minute. And I've created this process with my heart and soul and pain points that I have gone through, but also seeing just the general trend of what people are feeling. And because we're all empaths, and because if you're watching this, you probably are, you can feel into like, what are people really pissed off and upset about? What are people sick of, and what are people pained by? Okay, and speak to that. Speak to them and create processes that will help them out of it. Yes, you can utilize like your own experiences, but that's the biggest thing, and the biggest marketing pitfall that I've found is that people are not being client-centered. And if you are truly indeed client-centered in the kind of processes that you create, in the kind of programs that you create, then you will not have an issue with integrity. For me, this is something that's been like beaten down into my head by my last mentor, and it's been like an internal proverbial war of how do I stay in integrity to make sure that I show up for my clients in the most powerful way. Okay, and that is what has changed the game for me. That is exactly what has allowed me to create objectionless sales, to create trust within my audience, because I know what they're going through, and I have developed a process that will meet them in every single hardship and checkpoint that they're facing. So on that note, I have 2 different programs right now, 2 different ways to work with me. I have a Coalesce Intensive. This is for a wizard, a magician, a mystic, somebody who has been in the spiritual world for a while, somebody who has this incredible spiritual gift and has tried every single kind of technique under the sun to get their business going, and it's just like not working for you. And the biggest reason why is because you don't know how to talk to the other person who may need your service. The intensive is for you. I've designed it with somewhat of an energetic support, but it's mostly for marketing foundations and to be able to communicate to the people you're speaking. And then I have the immersive program, which is a 3-month experience for somebody who is not quite sure of what their spiritual gift is yet, or perhaps like has this inkling, but is like kind of turned off by all the major mainstream whatever the hell, and wants to create their own sense of authority, confidence, and their own unique vision. Then the immersive experience is for you. I have designed it with energetic support to provide you with this kind of energetic foundation, to empower you with tools to face your own shadows, anxieties, self-doubts, and of course you're going to have me by your side. And to start off your business with the right foundations, with the right market research, with the right strategies, with the right structures in place, so that you're not just spinning your wheels, trying everything under the sun and wondering why the fuck it hasn't worked. And I've designed both of these programs through all of my trials and tribulations with everything that has finally clicked and worked for me, and it was a coalescence of both business as well as energetic foundations. So if you know that you are ready to start your spiritual business vision, no matter what kind of stage of business you are in, whether or not you've had one, I'm going to go ahead and drop my link. It doesn't cost you anything to talk to me about my coalescence programs. If you are just hopping on, it's just watch it over as to what the #1 marketing pitfall is, and that's not being client-centered. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a link for you to schedule a call with me. It doesn't cost you anything. Talk to me about whether or not either one of these coalescence programs is for you. So on that note, stay client-centered in everything that you do, and you will never be out of integrity, and you will never question whether you will be out of integrity, and you will have fairly objectionless sales. It's because you know you have a process that works, you know that you're meeting clients where you're at, and if you're having a hard time with that, that's exactly what coalescence is for. So I look forward to seeing you guys in my inbox, and welcome again to Lauren to my coalescence 3-month immersive, and I look forward to supporting you on your vision, and I'll talk to you all soon. Cheers.